Hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones and you reach Shine Ministries. My ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. Okay? It says here in Psalm 16:10, quote from the NASB, quote, "For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, nor will you allow your Holy One to undergo decay or to see corruption," says another translation. Is that clear? Check this out. "For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, nor will you allow your Holy One to undergo decay." Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, I glorify your holy name. Please bless me, cleanse me, and bless the study of your word. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, I just saw a video by Walter Martin. Everybody loves Walter Martin. That's not the issue, though. And it was a mock debate between himself and between him and Ed Decker, former Mormon and a wonderful apologist. I don't know if we still have him, alive today upon this earth. I don't know. I think the last time I checked, he was, though. He has to be up there in age. I'll tell you that right now. And I think he's in his 80s. And Walter Martin surprisingly said, Ed Decker said that Jesus went to hell. And then the response of Walter Martin, surprisingly so, it shouldn't have been a surprise because I already heard the entire debate. I owned it on cassette a long time ago, cassettes, And he said, Jesus went to hell? Where do you see that in the Bible? And then, Ed Decker didn't know where that was in the Bible. Well, I know where that's in the Bible. So that's what we're going to study. I'm surprised that Walter Martin, of all people, said that he didn't go to hell. This is so clear in the scriptures. Listen, Jesus went to hell. Period. Okay? I mean, I could say like Mark from Missouri, end of discussion. He went to hell. Now, there were two divisions in hell. There was paradise in hell and torment in hell. Now, Jesus wasn't tormented in hell. He said tetelestai upon the cross. Verse 30, chapter 19 of John's Gospel is in the perfect tense, reduplicating consonant tau there. Okay, that tau reduplicated. And, tau, epsilon, tau, and, the rest of the deal. Okay, it has been finished. It has been accomplished. It's in the perfect tense. Actually, sort of echoing what the last verse of Psalm 22 says in the English and Hebrew text. I think it's Psalm 21 or something like that in the Greek Septuagint. It does that from time to time. You understand what I'm saying? Jesus went to hell. That's a very important doctrine. That means he was still, first of all, he was still alive if he went there. He didn't go to undergo torment in hell. Over here it says he wasn't left in hell. Now, what was he in the 3 days and 3 nights? He went to Sheol. Let's read this again. This is quite clear. This is very important. And yes, it's in the Apostles' Creed. Walter Martin, I'm not talking on Walter Martin. I mean, I love Walter. I'm just saying, but, he was teaching an incorrect thing. He was implying that Jesus didn't go to hell. He went someplace, okay, all right, during the 3 days and 3 nights that his body was on the planet surface, this planet. His body didn't go to hell, but his soul went to hell, okay, and he preached in hell. It says that in 1 Peter chapter 3. You're going to see that. This is a very important doctrine, though. No, his soul wasn't resurrected from the dead. It doesn't need to. It didn't have to be resurrected from the dead, like the witnesses teach. Okay, I'm just saying at this point, Walter Martin is wrong, saying that where do you see that in the Bible? Well, you see that in the Bible right here, and I think maybe he corrected that or something like that in the future. Okay, so I guess that's the future tense, whatever the case may be, sigma, right? Synchronize and all that it means. We had to teach this in the Christian church. He did go to hell. Now, did he pay for our sins in hell? No. Did he pay for our sins in the Garden of Gethsemane? No. He paid it upon the cross. And as a matter of fact, he paid it himself. That's why, he was forsaken of the Father. Because remember, Christ was, God was in Christ reconciling the world unto himself, but not at that time. My God, te mu. Why hast thou forsaken me? Well, because, he can't pay the payment to himself. He didn't become sin at the time that Christ became sin, so he had to leave. He had to forsake the Son. But what happened when Jesus died? Well, he says that he gives us the information in Luke chapter what? Luke chapter 23, when he was on the cross, around verse 43. We're going to check that out. And he said, today he shall be with me in paradise. So, and if he went to prison, and then we went to paradise, and went to Sheol, there's a few things to talk about, to think about. First of all, was Sheol, that's the abode of the dead. Now, what's paradise? That's a division in Sheol. You have torment in hell and paradise in hell. That's what Dr. Barnhouse said. The cream of the crop of Bible teachers, somebody said in front of me a long time ago. A pastor in a church in Manhattan said, "Oh, you listen to Dr. Barnhouse? Oh, he's the cream of the crop." Okay. This is a biblical doctrine. This is a teaching. He went someplace. His soul wasn't annihilated. It wasn't destroyed. Like Russell said on Man Christ Jesus is Dead Forever, Dead Volume 5, Study of the Scriptures. He didn't die. Meaning his soul, existence, didn't die, didn't see a death. And his body upon the planet's surface while he was in the heart of the earth, the Greek word cardia, we're going to see that's recorded in Matthew chapter 12, where it says that he went, the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth, cardia. And that's probably in the dative case. Probably Yoda subscript underneath the alpha there. We'll check that out. You understand what I'm saying? Pointing out the dative case. That's the case ending in the singular. First declension word like that. You understand what I mean? First declension word, a noun ending in alpha or eta. You understand what I'm saying? And then he went to prison. What do you mean he went to prison? Did his body go there? No. His body was on the planet's surface of earth. But his soul went to the heart of the earth. It even says that around Ephesians chapter 4. Okay? The depths of the earth, You know what I'm saying? He went to yes, he went to hell. You want to call it hell? Go ahead. You will not leave my soul in hell, it says. I think the King James says that. We can look at that. So this could be basically an introduction, okay, to the teaching. And then we'll get into, we'll get into this. We got into this verse, okay. We'll get into the Greek. We'll get into the Hebrew again. But this idea that Walter Martin said, where's that in the Bible? It's right here in front of my face. And not only that, it's echoed by the Apostle Peter in Acts chapter 2. Praxis apostolon, the Acts of the Apostles. Praxis means Acts in Greek. It has the kasi there, capital kasi in the title. I think that's the only place where the kasi, appears in the Greek New Testament as a title when it's capitalized. Okay, and then apostolon, the genitive plural for apostles. You know what I mean? He went someplace, and over here it's telling me he went to Sheol. To Sheol. Okay? He went to Sheol. He went to paradise in hell. But again, he was not tortured in hell. He wasn't born again. Okay? This idea that he was born again. Okay? Some cults and sects say that Jesus was born again. No, you have to be born again. That's the problem with you guys. You're not born again. Okay? He went to Sheol. It says it right here. And not only he went to Sheol, but his body saw no phthara in the Greek Septuagint. Shachat in Hebrew. Corruption. You understand what I'm saying? Because there was no iniquity found in his mouth. No guile, no iniquity. You understand what I'm saying? He was clean. Clean as a whistle. And he was raised from the dead ones. That's a very good point right there. The dead ones, nekron. He just wasn't raised from the dead. In English, is kind of deceiving a little bit. He was raised from the dead. Okay, so he was the only one that was resurrected. He was raised from the dead ones. The dead ones. The dead. It's in the plural. You're going to see all those teachings. Oh, let's see this one here. That's why I almost spilled my coffee. Right in front of me. For you will not abandon my soul to the sepulcher. Does it say that? Does it say that his soul was in a sepulcher with his body? It doesn't. He went to a specific place when he died. He left the body at death. You understand what I'm saying? He left that tabernacle. He left that tent, the tabernacle that he tabernacled with, and we beheld his glory. The glory. He left that tabernacle. He left that tent. It says in Zechariah that Jehovah will dwell with his people. And he did for 3.5 years. And an additional 40 days at the boot after the anastasis, after the resurrection from the dead. Okay? He was in prison. He went to prison to preach. He was very much active. He was very much alive at the time of those 3 days and 3 nights. That his body was in a tomb, and that's just the deal. He wasn't in the tomb for those 3 days and 3 nights. He was in hell. Now, again, he wasn't tortured. Again, he wasn't suffering for our sins. He said, Tetelestai, and I already told you. That means it is finished. That's what you used to get as a receipt in the agora, in the market. You understand what I'm saying? Tetelestai. The debt has been paid in full, in other words. Is this clear? For you will not, the Hebrew word lo, you will not abandon. Wait a minute. I thought that Jesus went to heaven when he said, Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit. He didn't go to heaven. He said in verse 17 of chapter 20 of the Gospel Kata Yohanin, I have not yet ascended to the Father. He says that after the resurrection. He said that in the first day after the resurrection. In the morning. He went through the rock. Whatever happened, he still had a body that could do that. He walked on the water with the body that wasn't glorified, you understand what I'm saying, before the resurrection. So after the resurrection, he had different characteristics, but the same body. Soma, Greek. Basar. Or in Hebrew. Flesh, skin. He had that, but it was glorified. Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that the Son may glorify thee. And he gave him the glory, same glory that he had before the world was. And he said, the glory that I had with thee. It doesn't say that the glory that you gave me, or the glory that you created me to have. No, he wasn't a creature. He wasn't. Doesn't say in Arche Apoyas and Hateas Tan Lagan anywhere in the Bible. In the beginning, God created the Word. Doesn't say it. Or the other 5 scenarios that I grant freely to the witnesses. See, because I feel sorry for the JWs. I have to be, their sort of advocate, sort of conjure up things that are not in the Bible, so they can see that they're not in the Bible. But I was surprised at Walter Martin. For you will not abandon. Wait a minute, abandon? Wait a minute. That's like, you're not going to leave someone somewhere. I thought that Jesus went to heaven, like I said before. Jesus didn't go to heaven. Not immediately. After the anastasis, and after he went to preach the people upon the planet surface, the disciples. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? After that, so he preached. He preached before the cross. He preached on the cross. He preached when he died in Sheol, and then he was preaching yet again to the disciples during the 40 days that he was upon the earth after being raised from the dead. Oh, but he was a life-giving spirit, really. I mean, he wasn't he a spirit? No, he was a life-giving spirit. Verse 22, chapter 20 of the Gospel Katan Yohanan. He breathed into them, mimicking what he did in chapter 2, okay, into the clay. You understand what I'm saying in Genesis? Receive the Holy Spirit. Receive the Holy Spirit. So he was a life-giving spirit in that sense that he gave life. And the life was the light of men. Or the light was the life of men. Something like that. I have to check that out. You understand what I mean? Sheol. Well, let's look at it, okay, according to the Greek Septuagint. Let's check this out, okay? Copy of the Greek Septuagint is right here. I moved it the other day and I couldn't find it. Okay, it was on the second page. Let's go to the Psalms. Okay, this is Exodus. By the way, it says ego eimi ho'on here, and I studied that in my last study that I did. Okay, all right, so just take that out of there for now. I want to come back to it in the future. Now, let me see here. Psalms is right there, so let's go to Psalm 16. Okay, this is so light, these colors. It really is. Now let me see here, because sometimes it doesn't coincide. Wait a minute, Psalm 16. No, it's actually no, because there's no verse 14 there, so it's actually Psalm 15. Okay, so let's check that out. Okay. So is psukein here, psukein, because it says over here uk, and that's a negative. Okay, uk, and it's uk because of the epsilon that's coming up in the next word. It says, okay, enka ta lipsis. Okay, the soul, tain, that's an accusative case construction, tain psukein, of me or my, that's mu. Okay, in, and that's ace as a preposition. Okay, Hades, Hades. Okay, Uden, that's nor. Okay, doses, tan, ASEAN, entonces ASEAN, su, Eden, dia, it says over here, dia thoran, that's undergo decay. Okay, so there's two things over here. First of all, his flesh wasn't going to go under decay. Okay, and you see fethora there, that's corruption. Fethoran, actually, phi in that word, dia fethoran, delta iota alpha phi, like phi 5 phi my. Okay, that's phi, and then theta, nowadays called theta. Omicron, nowadays called omicron. Rho, alpha with the acute marker, and then the nu, nowadays called ni. You understand what I'm saying? And you will not abandon, you will not leave. En kata lipsis. Okay? And that's in the second person, I believe. That's in the second person, I think, there. Okay? Singular. The soul. Thein. Psuchein. Of me. In Hadan. Or Hadain. Very clear in the text over here where he was at. He wasn't in Urano. Okay, Urano. It'll be like that, Urano. With the Yoda subscript underneath the Omega. You understand what I'm saying? Proving the dative case. He wasn't in Urano. He was in Hadain. A completely different word from heaven in the Greek. Okay? And that he will not abandon him there. Okay? If he was in heaven, why does it say you will not abandon my soul if it was like that in heaven? It makes no sense. He was here. He was. Now let's look at the Hebrew. Okay? Let's look at the Hebrew. All right? Let's pick this one. Okay? Let's go back to the Psalms here. And it's wonderful Greek and Hebrew interlinear. Where's the Psalms at over here? Psalms. It's after the book of Job, you know. And that's just a deal. So let's go to Psalm 16 in the English, though. In the Greek Septuagint, sorry about that, guys. In the Greek Septuagint is Psalm 15. That's the problem with with the Septuagint, that it's like a psalm. If you want to get a great psalm in the Septuagint, just think of psalm before. Psalm 110 is Psalm 109. Psalm 83, if you're dealing with the witnesses, is Psalm 82. Psalm 22 is Psalm 21. Psalm 24. Okay, you're going to need that for the witnesses there. The Lord of glory, proving that Jesus is the Lord of glory. And that's just a deal. That's what we're going to need. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? He is the Lord of glory. And then that's equal to the God of glory found and recorded in verse 2 of the Acts of the Apostles. You understand what I mean? But that's another study that I get into, the Lord of glory and the God of glory, that they're the same. It's just like, prayer and ask in Psalm Afar. That's the same. You could use that to prove that people can pray to Jesus according to John chapter 14, verse 14. All right. Let's check this out. Okay, all right. Let me see here if I could just go this. Can I go this way? Yeah, I can go that way, though. All right. Yeah. So let me go to Psalm. Okay. All right. 4, and that's key. Okay, that's the cough and the Yoda underneath it. It's like a C, but it's called cough. Okay, not cough. That's another letter, but cough, like you see what I'm saying? And you see the hardening doggish. Okay, in the belly of that letter. It's like an opposite side C, so that can help you a lot with the k sound, And then you have the yod, which means hand, by the way, as a vowel, acting like a vowel in a situation, and right under the letter F in the word for, up there in the corner, upper right hand corner. So you have the cough, which is a K letter, okay, and then you have the I class underneath it. Okay, that's Hirek. And then the second letter, remember you read Hebrew from right to left, is Yod, okay, found in the Tetragrammaton and things like that. Okay? And then the word Elohim. So that's just acting like it's like an E sound. In that, see, that's why the arrow is up there in the transliteration. And then it says lo here, okay, the word not is here. And there's a lamed, that's the sort of long letter. It looks like a upside down 4 almost. It's the only Hebrew letter that protrudes over the Mendoza line above. I would say the second Mendoza line. The first one is like when you're writing on something. When you're writing in your notebook, in the first line that you're writing on, I call that the first Mendoza line. And then the upper line, So you're writing in the middle of 2 lines, right? The upper line is the second Mendoza line. This is the only letter in Hebrew that goes over that, okay? So it's very easy to detect. There's only one letter like that in Hebrew. All the other letters that are long go downward, okay? Just like the hro in Greek and chi and letters like that, All right? So this is the word lo, is a negative. Okay, it's spelled out lamed with an O class and an aleph, the famous aleph. The aleph is very important when it comes to Greek manuscripts because when it comes to one Greek manuscript, the aleph manuscript, manuscript 01 or Sinaiticus or Sinaiticus or Sinaiticus or whatever, So this is not. You will not. Now let's check out and that's low, lamed, and with the whole O class, it's a little dot. Let me go back to the not, and not and not. Okay, like Martin Lloyd Jones used to say, the lamed has an O class. Okay, what's an O class? What's an upper dot? Now in this situation, it's over. It's over the It's over the It's to the left of the letter. You see that dot? I'm right underneath the O. Right underneath the O. Look at that. Ironically so. Right underneath the O and not. There's a dot there in the Hebrew construction. That's an O class. So don't make Hebrew so hard. You know, it's hard for us to pronounce these words because we're not Jewish people. So I'm not here to tell you to pronounce it the way I pronounce it, okay? It's just like a Jewish person trying to pronounce a Greek, right? Or my language, Spanish. 'Cause I'm a Spanish-born American, right? Native-born. I mean, I was born in the United States, and to my chagrin, in 1965, in New York City. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not gonna come along and just speak Spanish the way I do, you know. So touche right there. You know what I mean? We can't speak it like them, but they can't speak our language also the way we speak it. Okay. I cannot say they can't. It's possible, and it's possible for us to sharpen our Hebrew to such a degree that it'll be like theirs. But that takes years to do. Years. I don't have that. Okay, I'm 57. Okay, Bebakasha is good enough for me. You understand what I'm saying? You're welcome. You know what I'm saying? All right, so you got the lamed here, which is the Hebrew El. Okay, you see it in the word Elohim, right? In the word El, like that. And then the Aleph is an X-looking letter. It's just a silent letter. It's just I can't say it's nothing, but it makes no sound in Hebrew, okay? Okay, because it's like an apostrophe. So it's like a, sort of a open quote or closed quote or whatever the case may be. Okay, so whatever. Lo. So let's get to the third word here. Okay, let me see. Just poke the bear here and get rid of that. Now, this is important. It just said no or not, right? Well, you will. Let me see if I could get that more perfectly in the middle. Okay. All right. You will leave, but it just said not. So you will not, right? You need the other word. That's negating this. You will not. Okay. Now what's that? Well, over here it has a tau and an A class. Okay, and then you have an ion with an A class. Okay, and then you have what is that letter? I forgot that letter in Hebrew. I haven't seen it in a while. So is that the zeta? It's not zeta, but Zion. Actually, zeta is Hebrew. That's a Z. That's a Z in Hebrew. It looks like the noon, doesn't it? A little bit, That's the thing about Hebrew. You got to practice this day and night. And sometimes you forget little things. I just forgot the name of that letter, but that's a Zion. That's a Z in Hebrew, even though it's like a DZ sort of sound sometimes for some people, that's the zeta in Greek is equal to this. That's how you have to say it. Is equal to this. It's not the other way around. Okay. And then you have an O class above that though. Okay. Above that you have an O class. We already went through the O class in Hebrew with the lo. So whenever you see a dot above a letter, you're probably, let's just put it like that, you're probably looking at an O class. Okay. If you're looking at one dot underneath a letter, you're most likely looking at an I class. And it's like that. All right. Now, after that, you have the bet. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? The bet. And so this could be, let me see, ta. Actually, the A class is like in the word hat. That's the pathach. And then that's a A class. So you have two A classes in biblical Hebrew that sound differently. You got the A like in father, kametz. It looks like a little T, right? And like in the word shama. And then in the lexical form. And then you have the the lexical form. And then you have the A class, like in the word hat, like here. Okay? So, like in Shama, but in the text, in the great Shama. Shama Yisrael. Yahweh Elohinu Yahweh Echad. Those are 6 words in the Shema. And the Shema is actually mentioned again in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 6. So if the Jehovah's Witnesses are limiting Christ to be only Lord, well, they're doing me a favor. I could use the Shema for him very easily. You understand what I mean? If you're straitjacketing the teaching, you can't straitjacket Christ. If you're straitjacketing the teaching of the doctrine of the deity of Christ to just be some sort of demigod, and so he's the Lord, well, you're doing me a favor. The Tetragrammaton applies to him, and what you're doing is you're not applying. It's impossible in the future to apply the Shema to the Father if you're only limiting him because you're limiting the Son. You're unwillingly limiting God the Father to being only Theos. Well, then the Shema has nothing to do with the Father then in that situation. Okay? As a matter of fact, you have a dilemma in Genesis chapter 2 where it says Lord God. Okay, who's Jesus? If you say he's Elohim, well, he's God. If you say he's the Tetragrammaton applies to him, well, then he's Jehovah. You have to read verse 5, why verse 6 of chapter 8 of 1 Corinthians was written. It was written to absolutely annihilate, no pun intended, okay, any thought of, okay, those so-called gods in being God and those so-called lords in being Lord. Okay, it ransacks it. Because if you just say, well, there's only one God, the Father and the Lord Jesus Christ, well, a lot of people can boast in Greece or whatever the case may be, even in Rome, all over the world, and say, well, the Bible doesn't say nothing about Lord, so let's just continue. How about cake and eat it too? Okay, they say something about, there's only one God, but, well, we can have our lords. But in saying that, the Father is the only God there, and Jesus is the only Lord, well, the Apostle Paul is ransacking all the deities at the same time. Doesn't he do that a lot? He talks about one incident, okay, he talks about having a mindset, correct mindset, and at the same time, he kills 3 birds with 1 stone, not only talking about that, but talking about nature A and nature B of Christ. In verses 6 and 7 of Philippians chapter 2. Well, just a deal. Well, this is, okay, ta'azav. Okay, or ta'azov, actually. Ta'azov. Okay, ta'azov. You will leave. Ta'azov. And that's again, Tau with the Pathach, Ayin with the Hatef Pathach, Zion with an O class and an accent marker right below it, and then Beit, I believe acting like a V though, like in the word Bebakashah, But anyway, let's continue. And maybe not all the words, but let's just continue over here. My soul. This is important, so let's check that. Everything's important, but I'm just saying for just the sake of time. My soul, and that's over here, naf. Okay, naf she. Nafshi. You have the noon there with the pathach, right? The A class, nah. Okay, nah in modern Hebrew, right? And then you have the pay here, acting like a PH, I believe, right? Or like I think that's acting like a P though. Okay. And so that's pay with the schwa underneath it. So that's 1 syllable. Okay. Naf. And then there's no hardening in that, but maybe it doesn't need it. And then you have the sheen. The SH letter looks like a W. Says this is, that's not the W in Hebrew. The Waw does that, or the Vav, like in the word wow. Got away with that one, guys. Okay. Anyway, Sheen, and then you have the I class underneath it, Herek, and then the Yod again acting like a vowel. So Nafshi, Nafshi, Nafshi. And then you have the word, okay, Nefesh here. For so. Ruah is the word for spirit, okay, in Hebrew. Remember that psuchein is in the Greek Septuagint, and then pneuma will be the word for spirit in Greek. Now, so you will not leave my soul where? Well, let's just stop here. We don't need to, read the whole thing. Okay. Let's check out the word for Sheol. Where is that in Sheol? Let's check that out. Okay. You will not leave my soul in Sheol. It says over here, Sheol. Okay, Sheol. Okay, that's li, that's a preposition tagged right next to the word, like in Bereshit, like in beginning in Genesis 1:1. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's one syllable, leash. Okay, the lamed, remember that's the L, and like in the word Elohim or El, or in the word lo. Okay, so that's la, right? So since that consonant makes a sound, so you make that sound first before you pronounce the vowel underneath it. That's just a dot, so that's an I class. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So li, and then that's not the entire syllable, because you have a upcoming letter, sheen, that's an sh, and typifying, I think, like teeth in Paleo Hebrew, right? This is Babylonian script. This is not Hebrew. We call it Hebrew, but it's not really Hebrew. It was adopted by the Hebrews after they left Babylon. You understand what I'm saying? But Paleo Hebrew, that's Hebrew. Okay. So you have the sh. So and then you have the schwa underneath that. So that's one syllable, leash. And then the aleph is silent. Okay. And then you have the wow or the vav, take your pick. Okay, that's in the tetragrammaton, right? It means nail, by the way. So the tetragrammaton really means hand, behold, nail, behold. That's the story of the cross right there, the tetragrammaton. Okay, so then you have the holem O class above it. Remember, we saw it in the word lo. So the dot above, okay, a vowel or a letter is an O, okay? And then you have the L again, the lamed. Okay, so that makes up the syllable. Okay, that's makes up the word, I should say. That finishes the word. Okay. Well, lish all in Sheol, and then the lexical form is Sheol, Sheol. Sheen, actually, Sheol. That's a letter. Okay. That's a schwa underneath the sheen. Okay. So you pronounce the consonant first, sh. And it's not a sin. It's not a sin to call sheen shin. Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock on Star Trek, okay, was a Hebrew of the Hebrews in real life, and he pronounced this letter not sheen but shin. Okay, so if he can do it, well then it's not a sin to do that. It's, I don't know why these scholars get up and say things that are not factual. You know what I'm saying? Oh well, it's wrong to and the guy who did that was German. Okay, I don't know how that happened. All right, so she and then ul. Okay, so that's lamed, and then you have the vav again with the O class, you see, and then lamed. It's right under the letters or the numbers 7,585. So he did go to Sheol. Okay? He did. And then let's just look at the word for corruption. Okay. See your Holy One. Okay, Holy One. Your Holy One, it says over here. Okay. All right. To see. and that's Ra'ah there, and that's the same what found and recorded for 74 people seeing God at the same time. Just see, Exodus, chapter, what is it, chapter 24, verse 10, I think is, so if you have trouble with the witnesses saying that nobody has seen God at any time, and that means perception. That means not eyesight with the physical eyes. That means perception. Okay. Exegesata clarifies that very, very, very well. And not only that, you have the same thought in Matthew chapter 13 and John chapter 9, that sight doesn't mean, seeing they will not see, and hearing they will not hear. Well, that's not talking about physical hearing and eyesight. You understand what I mean? It's not all the time like that. I think blepo is there in Matthew chapter 13. Blepo. I see. You understand what I mean? To see. Now let's look at the word corruption, and that's shachat. Let's see that. Okay. Now, what it means to see, to undergo. But he was still alive, so he'll be seeing his own flesh decay, if that was the case. You understand what I'm saying? It could be all of that, the combination of the two. Let's check this out, though. Okay, corruption. Now, we already saw the fasada in Greek. In the Greek Septuagint is the word for corruption. You understand what I'm saying? Found and recorded also in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Now, let's check this out. It says over here, shachat. Shachat, actually. I hate that I think that's why the Hebrews got rid of that sound. It's just it's too much. Okay? It's just like the Greeks getting rid of the A sound and eta and making it eta, and then the A sound and in Omicron making it Omicron, and the I sound in Kai making it Ke. I mean, I think it's just for pronunciation, because it's very easy to pronunciate John 1:1 in the modern sense of it all. Energy no logos, ke logos in prostonte on kete osino logos. Praise God, he gets the glory, not me. It's hard to say energy in halagas, kai halagas in prostante an, kai teas in halagas. It just doesn't roll, It doesn't roll. So it's like going downstairs on a ramp versus the stairs. I think, is that an oxymoron? How can you go downstairs on a ramp? It's not a stairs. Okay, it's like going down, okay, on a ramp versus the stairs. Okay, all right. Especially going down with a bicycle. Go like that, Energino logos, que logos in prostoteo, que teos in logos. This is shachat, a shachat. This here, shachat. Okay, so you have the sheen and the kamet, and I have to go because they're doing karaoke or something like that, So you have the sheen and the kamet. Okay, sha. Okay, and then you have the chet and the pathach, and then the tau. So shachat. That's spelled out. The Philippines, I'm telling you guys. I can't complain because I do it also. I put my music very loudly also, So sheen, that's not the music for the study though. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, you're jumping from, hundreds of years before Christ to the time of now. Okay, that's just the deal. They do like the music of the United States here in the Philippines. They copy everything. Instead of going to the moon, they didn't copy that though. You understand what I'm saying? Incidentally, didn't the tower say that nobody was going to go to the moon and 24 people did? And then nobody was going to go to space and 600 people did, including Captain Kirk? That's just a deal. So shachat, that's the sheen and the kamet, and then the chet and the pathach, and then the tau. Understand what I'm saying? I think that's a tricycle that had the music though. So he's going. I don't know if he's selling bread or whatever. But what a way to sell stuff, with just blasting the music in front of everybody's face. I mean, who would go downstairs? Well, there's no downstairs over here, so I mean, I relocated to the Philippines about 4 years ago. I'm married to Riza now, Quinones, and I had two children, Sean Donnelly and Anna Devane. Yes, I got that from General Hospital, because I just admired those characters a lot. All I need is Robert Scorpio, and I have a winning team. So I can't lose, guys. And you can't lose here, shachat. Means corruption. Sheen, and I'm right under the N in the word corruption, okay? And that looks like a W letter in Hebrew. It's not a W, okay? Whenever you see a W-looking letter in Hebrew, it's not a W. It's either a SH or a S. You could tell it's an SH because of the upper dot. It's on the upper right-hand corner, correctly not touching the letter. I really don't like sometimes when Bibles have the dot touching the actual letter, because you can't tell if it's a sheen or a seen, unless you know the word very well. You know what I mean? Like in the word basar, you know that's an S sound. You understand what I'm saying? Like in the word Moses, you know that's an SH. You just know those things, So anyway, over here it says shachat, and so that's a sheen dot. Okay, so that's over the right-hand upper corner of the letter. And then you have the comments underneath this. It looks like a T, doesn't it, though? That's an A class, like in the word father. Shah. So you just say Shah. You pronounce the syllable that makes the sound first, okay? And then you pronounce the vowel underneath it, or whatever the case may be, and whatever letter you're looking at. Okay, so Shah. That's all. I mean, it's as simple as that. Just get to know the sounds that the letter makes, and get to know the sounds that the vowels, dashes, dots and strokes make. You know what I'm saying? So Shah. That's all. Then remember, you read Hebrew from left to right. So the next upcoming letter is the chet. It's a CH. It looks like the T, doesn't it? Look at it. The chet, or the CH, is right under the T and an I, and the T and I in corruption. And it looks just like the T that's right under the P in corruption. Doesn't it look like that? But the T has a little foot on the bottom left-hand portion of the letter. You see, it has a foot there, right? So, I mean, it looks almost the same, but you just have to get to know the letters. The Hey in the Tetragrammaton, or Haya or an Elohim is an H, and it looks just like these two letters, except for it has a little slit, okay, above the upper left-hand corner. Not to the top, but almost to the top, you see? And these three letters look the same. But you just have to get to know your letters, The chet has no foot and no opening, so that's a CH. And then you have the A class underneath it, like A, like in hat. Pathach. Okay? And so that's ha. Ha. The witnesses. Ha. Shaha. And then you have the second syllable consists of two letters, so that's the T, okay, the tau. And yes, there's different pronunciations. There's an S pronunciation and a TS pronunciation and all that stuff. But let them fight that battle. According to pronunciations in Greek and in Hebrew, there's wars and rumors of wars. See that you be in trouble. You know what I mean? So shachat is corruption. So he didn't go under any decay. You see? And he went to Sheol. It says right over here. Sheol. So there's two things here. His body wasn't destroyed like the witnesses like to teach, so-called Jehovah's Witnesses, right? It's all no or low at decay or corruption, right? Shachat, right? And then he wasn't abandoned in Sheol. He wasn't left in Sheol, so he was alive, doing stuff in Sheol. He was preaching in Sheol. You know what I mean? Now the mystery is, okay, well, it's not a mystery because I'm thinking about it right now. Why would he say to the man on the cross, okay, who repented, today you shall be with me in Sheol? Don't sinners, when they repent, go to heaven when they die? Yeah, but the thing is that Jesus wasn't raised from the dead yet. So the sinner still had to go to Sheol. Now, in our situation, because of the anastasis of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, you understand what I'm saying? That's the Greek word, anastasis. Alpha being perfect letter for anastasis, because it means rising in and of itself. Just the letter alpha means rising. Because of that, because of the anastasis of Christ, of the resurrection of Christ, we go directly to the presence of God. To be absent with the body is to be present with the Lord. Anyway, this is Angelo Quinones, always giving glory to God the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Spirit. God is not the God of the dead, the necron, the dead ones, right? But of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus spoke those words. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, and please leave a comment on the screen. It will help the circulation of this, okay, so people can see it. And I praise God that even after my death, no pun intended, these videos will be very widely seen. But unfortunately, I won't be around to see it. Okay, this is the deal. Some of the videos, I saw that it did well. The Tetragrammaton debate. I mean, I have a Tetragrammaton debate, but the Tetragrammaton discussion or Bible study that I did, I mean, that has 18,000 views. So I mean, but overall, how this is going to work out in recorded history, I mean, I don't know. Martin Luther didn't know that, the nailing of the 95 Theses was going to be such a great thing. He know that was going to happen, So just for circulation's sake and for the glory of Christ, I hope the same thing will happen here. Take care, guys.